Hello, thank you all for joining us today for our January growth workshop. Today we will be covering 7 ways to build trust to grow your practice. So I'm sure most of you know us all by now, but I just want to start off by introducing our presenters for today. So Lee, go ahead.
Yeah, and I know everybody should feel that we are doing or a lot of the things we're going to talk about today for you, but this is kind of a push for some of the people who are not opening up all elements of the program and some other kind of takeaways that people may not have thought of when they're trying to develop trust. So I think this is a good, valuable topic, and we're excited to get it going.
And I am Katie Smith. I have the pleasure of speaking with many of our growth clients. I am your customer success ambassador and really excited to be talking about this topic because it is a very important one.
And I am Steve Anderson, the Senior Business Development Manager, and I do speak with a lot of you in regards to engaging and bringing you guys on board and taking care of it. This is a great topic, something that we do communicate when you're getting set up and also interested in getting more information.
And I'm Alexa Myers. I'm the marketing manager. So let's get started. So on today's agenda, you can see that we'll be discussing these 7 specific ways that the most successful tax and accounting professionals build trust and retain their clients. Within these 7 ways, we also get even more specific and give you some examples of action items that you can take right now in order to build trust with your current and as potential clients as well. We will then cover if you have a solid answer to the question, why you, and some next steps that you can take. This workshop will be approximately 30 minutes long. There will be no CPE credit this time. Please stay to the end for the Q&A. And as we always say, this workshop is designed for US-based small tax and accounting practices. However, we feel that any other business or practice may benefit.
All right, let's get started. I will start with the intro, and so a little background, not on the slide, but kind of, the idea here is that the AccountingWorks Pro program can help you build much needed trust. So a lot of the way we have built the system is designed to do a lot of these things for you. But there's a couple of talking points that I definitely want you to take away from this presentation. So your marketing should make your clients feel comfortable with your practice, okay? So keep that in mind when we're developing content, when we're choosing pictures for your website, when we're developing the social media profiles, the reviews, whatever. So we want the marketing to make your clients feel comfortable with your practice. We want to humanize it so that we're basically sharing pain points, vulnerabilities, and life goals with your clients, right? Respect your client's time. I think it's a huge takeaway that a lot of times busy professionals forget. Focus on keeping clients happy so they refer you to friends and colleagues, right? So if they trust you, if they're friendly with you and they're happy, they're obviously going to refer more and more people, which is one of the main goals of our program. Selling tax and accounting services is different than selling a physical product. So an example, let's say like a car, you can go test drive it, you can look at it, you can evaluate it in person. Is it fast? Does it go 0 to 60 in what you want? Do you like the color? Does it fit your family, right? So a physical product is much easier to kind of compare and contrast with others. But tax and accounting services are much harder to compare since it's hard to evaluate expertise. So the program that we've created is to help showcase expertise. So the pro who can generate trust stands the best chance of being successful. So here are a few ways, the 7 that we came up with. So number 1 is keeping your clients informed. Prospective and current clients, people forget about the current clients, want to ensure their pro knows what they're doing, right? So how do you do that? You do that through your newsletter. You present yourself as an authority in your area of expertise. Basically you're putting your knowledge on display. So we do suggest that you make sure your database, and this is speaking to the people who are not fully, maybe they're still onboarding or haven't finished certain milestones, make sure your database is loaded. Everyone in your sphere of influence, not just clients, prospects, but even referral sources. You want to continually contact your clients in a year-round basis, right? We do this for you, but we cannot do it without the database. So I know in our onboarding, we keep pounding on this, but it is really, really important. If you have not done this after this workshop, it should be one of the first things you do. So you want to make sure that your prospects and clients understand the value of your service and how you can improve their life, right? Whether that is by saving them time, limiting their risk, or providing a better financial income or outcome. So basically, that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to keep your clients informed. Post this content about life events. That's both personal and business life events. And you'll notice in our content and the way we've created things, we do this for you. So without the database, though, it doesn't load. If we don't have your birthdays or things, other important dates about your clients, we can't send a lot of the different automation. So it's one of the areas that we definitely want you to keep your clients informed, get that database in there. The second one is let your reviews do the selling for you. And there's a couple touch points here that people forget. And one thing is about being fresh on the reviews. There's a bunch of statistics here. 84% of people trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. 90% of prospects read less than 10 reviews before forming an opinion about the business. So basically, we say make them count, right? So continuously ask your current clients for their honest feedback by sending out these review requests. It's not something we do one time when you onboard with us. It's something we should be doing quarterly. It's something at the end of a successful engagement, there's the ability to send a one-off review request. Make it part of your client experience, right? So if you're thinking just about referrals, 100% of clients are going to Google your name. They're going to see if someone did refer you, they're going to look up your brand and see what other people are saying. So, right, if they see a poor review on your profile, they may not even call you. So you're kind of dead in the water and you don't even know you're in the game. So if they see glowing 5-star reviews, they will likely become a client and already start trusting you. I think this is an important element, that if the onboard process is seamless, if they start building that trust already, they have reviews from third parties that are backing up what that referral source said about you, the chances of them coming in already with a higher level of trust are there. That's going to make for a more successful engagement, right? The more they trust you, the more they follow your advice, they're not fighting with you. That means probably they're going to be a lifelong client. So these are kind of important things. I know, Steve, you have some feedback here on the review side as well.
Yes, and I completely agree with you, Lee. And one thing I want to add is make sure when you're getting the reviews, make sure you're getting them kind of throughout your whole business platform. From, like you were saying on there, like TaxBuzz, Counting Works, use Google My Business, using Yelp, using different outsourced review areas as well and websites, because you don't know where your clients are going to come from, and they're going to look at multiple different websites and look at your reviews throughout. So I think that's really key, and from what I've heard, that's been really successful with the current clients that have had great success.
Yeah, and we enable, and most of your sites should already have this, but we have an equator block that automatically pulls the TaxBuzz and Counting Works reviews onto your website. We're in development with an API to the Google My Business profile, so we'll be able to start bringing all of these in. But one thing we do have is another an equator block, and these are just the blocks on your website, like schedule an appointment or the blog. But if you need to, and we don't have this live on yours, we also have a testimonial block. Yelp and other third-party websites, it is 100% fine to start posting those testimonials on that block, and that might even give some more validity or kind of open it up to better conversion on your site. So if you do not have that currently, it's definitely something as a takeaway from the workshop. Perhaps explore that, and we can add that to your site. All right, so show your human side on social media. So I always say, highlight the human side of your practice to build rapport with prospective clients and prospects, right? Humans want to work with people they like. If you are showing your personality, showcasing your expertise on social media, you're actually hanging out where your clients are hanging out on their free time, right? So if they're on their mobile devices, they're on Facebook, whatever social media sites, the more solid your profile is, the fresh content we are already putting through, there's certain things that we can't do for you. So, posts that show off your firm's personality. So company gatherings, charitable events, firm staff photos, we see it all the time. So the pros that are getting the most engagement online show their personality. And I'm speaking to the people who still don't have social set up. There's SEO reasons you're going to rank better. It makes it harder, our job harder to rank you. But more importantly, it's like free advertising. I mean, think about it. Your brand now is in front of your audience every day. Anytime they log in, they're basically seeing an ad or just like validation of why I work with you. And you're more top of mind. I mean, I think these are in hugely important things. So definitely look at, being a little more open on social media. Don't be afraid of it. Even if you don't like it, you don't hang out on it. It is the modern day. It's the way things are sold. It's the way client relationships are created. And it's a way to continue building trust, right? That's the whole purpose of this workshop. So creating a consistent and professional web presence. And basically what we mean here, and I'm going to back off a little off the bullet points here, but I want to make sure that you're answering certain questions for your audience. And this is going to I want these viewpoints or these talking points to be consistent across every aspect of your digital footprint. So these are kind of things I want you to start thinking about. Does my tax pro understand my unique situation? Am I valued to them, right? Do they care about my personal issue? Will this pro give me straightforward, unbiased advice? There's a reason accountants are consistently rated as the most trusted advisors is because they already have a better reputation than others that are giving quote unquote unbiased advice. So your role as an advisor is to make sure that message is across your web presence. So make sure it's on your websites, maybe even having these talking points in some of your profiles. There's areas for copy. Let's continue to reiterate the same type of thing. So when web referrals come in, so visitors that come to your website from other sites, we want to make sure, and I'm going to back up a little, I'm going to get a little technical here. So what we mean by consistent professional web presence, there's a couple things here. One is not just having social media profiles set up, it's not having the website and making sure that the images and the copy points and the profile images are all the same, but it also is about what we do for you right now. We submit your business to all the different directories. We manage it. I think there's actively managed around 100 or so, and then we go to all of the other sites that basically what we're trying to do is make sure your name, address, phone, your contact information, it's called your NAP settings, are consistent across the web. And what this does is it provides a trust factor to the search engines and to your own users. So meaning if they're Googling about you, and let's say they're looking at you, that they weren't a straight referral, and they start seeing inconsistent data across your directory listings, that is a negative trust. Wait, is this their address or is this their address? Which phone number is the correct phone number? And if they're comparing other pros and this isn't a straight referral, that's an area that, again, it's a trust signal to the search engines, but it's also a trust signal to a user who's, is searching it up. I know Katie had some information or something to add here as well.
Yeah, thanks. I just always like to say, because we live in a digital age right now, most people, pretty much everyone, relies on the internet to educate themselves. And by doing that, we're doing a lot of that work for you on with your web presence, but having your brand be easily recognizable, and to Lee's point, the messaging really needs to be tight. You want to hone in on what your differentiator is and have that across multiple directories that we also do for you. So they easily can recognize you as being this business. I recognize these colors, I recognize this logo, and I know that they are experts in X, Y, and Z. But also, I also like to point out that even if you can't see that people are looking, you're wondering if they're looking. So your web presence really solidifies your credibility and reputation.
Yes, thank you. And there's an element of this as well on the long-tailed keywords, and we put a slide together that kind of talks about how this works. And this is part of what your blog is all about. So when we create content for you, around 50% of your traffic is coming from long-tailed search terms. There's a couple ways to use this as far as building your practice. So we do this on blog content. So people that are looking for, they're looking not for a CPA, they're looking for a CPA who does estate planning in Long Beach. That is a long-tail search term. There's also long-tailed search terms. I want someone to help me get a lien removed from my house or whatever it is. So instead of just lien or tax lien, it's a long-tailed search term. So what you're going to see here, just through this graphic, is the majority of traffic, 70%, is coming from this long tail search traffic. So when we develop content for you and start establishing you, we already do that through the blog, but also start thinking about that if you're looking for specific niche type of traffic. So if you're looking for a specific type of industry, or if you're looking for restaurants or whatever, work with our team, your VIP team, to help establish maybe some new content that talks to these long-term search, long-tailed SEO terms. And we can add that. We have a ton of different content that we add to clients. So, we don't always know, maybe there's something that you specialize in that you haven't communicated with us, but definitely something to think about. It's an important element of where the traffic is coming from. So this goes into the importance of marketplace sites. We obviously own TaxBuzz and CountingWorks. But the reason we created both of these is, one, we are slowly but steadily growing the quality of the leads and the amount of leads. TaxBuzz is I think doubled or tripled in the last month or so, the amount of inbounds that are coming in. The importance of them is they are ranking, these marketplace sites are ranking higher than a lot of local brands now. So if you don't have a high quality presence on it, meaning you're not one of the 5-star review pros, this is going to start affecting the inbound traffic to your website. So these marketplace sites, whether it be Yelp, the Google My Business isn't really a marketplace, but CountingWorks and TaxBuzz are. And basically what happens is the search engines look at these and say, these are trusted sources, and when a consumer looks at it, they're going to go, okay, I want to compare 5 pros in my area. Who are they going to choose? Who are they going to call? Probably the one with the best reviews, probably someone with a background screening, someone with a nice profile image, a nice bio, someone that feels just through their profile, they feel trustworthy, right? So prospective clients rely heavily on these online directories. So if you do not have these fully optimized right now, or you need assistance at getting a better bio photo, definitely reach out to us after this workshop, and we can get that added for you. I know Katie has a lot of experience in marketplaces, so go ahead and jump in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I kind of going back on what I just mentioned on the other slide. So people are looking and they're doing their research. It's just the world we live in these days. And you want to make sure you are on the directories and marketplace sites. It makes a world of a difference to your ranking with the website crawlers if you are on multiple directories with those 5-star reviews. Look at this stat right here. 90% of prospects read less than 10 reviews before making an informed decision. So constantly getting reviews across many directories, which is something that your SEO and VIP team can help you with. But directories just allow more people to discover you. It all has to be connected. So you have a mobile-friendly website. We've got you covered there. We've got you on the directories. But just working together with us, your VIP team, getting you more 5-star reviews is just going to help boost you even further.
All right, thank you. And then I'm going to add a little more, and then we're going to move off of this side. But on optimizing your online directory, if you have not claimed or had issues with your Google My Business, 100% get that started again. There's times when we can't follow up with everyone where we do the process, we set it up, we don't get the postcard and the PIN number, we can't finish it. Especially with what we have coming with Google My Business, I think it's a game changer with what we're going to do for the VIP clients. So if you have not claimed your Google My Business listing, and we need assistance with doing it, please do that after this. We do optimize these for you. This is kind of just refresher. Please, this is what you need to do. We're doing a lot of this work for you. But being in control of your directory profiles will allow you to ensure your practice's information is accurate, right? This will avoid confusion that can turn prospective clients away from your practice. So please just make sure, if for whatever reason you've neglected it or forgot it or never got it, whatever, let's just make sure that those profiles and directories are up to date. And here's a perfect example of a well-optimized profile. Terrence Hawkins is doing very well. He's got 48 ratings. He looks welcoming, he looks trustworthy, he looks experienced, and the reviews kind of back it up. So this is, if you don't have this type of profile, and he has fresh reviews, so he's getting the reviews year round. This is what we're looking for. So when we talk about a solid profile, this is someone who's converting a ton of inbound traffic to customers and referrals, right? So your bio and headshot matters. We've talked about this in multiple articles and other workshops, but basically there's a trust factor in even it's your personal branding, right? So having a great headshot has become very important. It's your first impression to make. So let's make it a good one, right? We obviously suggest, and we have used Photo Feeler for some clients where we will compare your multiple photos and let the crowd kind of rate, what do they think for trustworthy, friendly, whatever, right? So there's a bunch of criteria that we can throw out there. Please take advantage of this if you think your profile picture needs some work. We want your profile picture on all your directory sites. We want the bio and your profile picture on your website. That's the second or third most visited page on your site. You want to make that connection. You want to start the trust building process with how you're communicating your own brand, right? So please, if you think you're questioning what you have there now, if you're lacking one, nothing's worse than me when I QC the websites when they launch, and when someone has not put a bio up, I always ask why, and did we miss something? And it's always, well, they didn't want to do it. And the importance of it, the search volume that comes from it, and the ability to start building trust, which is what this whole industry is about, starts with that element. So please do it. And here's some good stats we ran on our TaxBuzz profiles. This is significant. 7 times more 5-star reviews, 3.1 times more profile views. Think about that. That's monster. 3.7 times more leads. People are choosing the people that look friendly and they want to do business with. So definitely it's something that you need to think about. And again, if you review your own profile now, your photo, and you think you need some help, give us a call and we can start working with you on that. So this is something that we can't necessarily do for you. It is something, though, that we use in our own marketing, and it's something that I think is very successful. A lot of times you'll hear us talk about social proof, and case studies are another type of social proof. So basically, can I put myself in the shoe of your client, the shoes of your client, and basically say that, that's kind of experience I want to have. So this is kind of where you're selling that car and you can actually see the color and feel it out a little bit. This is a way to take a service and make it a little more tangible, right? So, more than half of people trust brands based on their customer experience. Let's get some case studies done if you can. If you can even show examples, and I'm going to give you a couple things. So you might feature before and after data from a business client, certain growth levels. Maybe you took them from a negative growth to a 50% growth in a period of time. That is something you can highlight in a case study type thing. And this is kind of how we did it. This is what we did for a client. Tax resolution clients is even easier. A lot of times the IRS notices come in. We have pros that just kind of block out the client's information, contact information, but kind of shows this is what the bill was, this is what we settled for. A lot of those things are really helpful in the social proof side, and kind of, again, building trust through your digital footprint. So this is content that these people are absorbing when they're visiting your website. This is happening, again, whether you know it's happening or not. This is what makes the professionals that are converting convert. And those that are lacking these kind of tells, they're lacking reviews, they're lacking the social proof, they're lacking case studies. They're the ones that are having a harder time. They're getting the traffic, or they're maybe not ranking as well. But Google is starting to look at what is the user experience when someone's on the website. The people that are following these best practices are doing better. That's just the way it is. So it's definitely something that's worth your time to kind of look at. It might be as simple as doing that example I did with the IRS, the tax letters. I have a pro who's doing that on LinkedIn, shares them all the time, gets 10, 15, 20 people just bragging about them. And it's basically kind of it's free advertising, really. So it's something to definitely look at. So be responsive at every point of contact. And this is something that, again, when people get busy, and even think about this, how quickly do you respond to inbound inquiries? Even if you don't have the answer, it's an important thing to just at least set the rules. Say, hey, I got this. I'm working on it. Expect a response from me in this particular amount of time. The non-responsive is the number one-star, text that we see in these reviews. The pro, the CPA ignored me. They didn't return my calls. And it takes not just one time being ignored, but multiple times. This is the easiest way to build trust. And even if you say, hey, it's going to take me 3 days, we're in the crunch time right now, or a week, and then you deliver in 2 days, respond, that is the kind of experience you want. And at least you're setting expectations and you're following through. So, there's a bunch of ways. So that's with a current client. We also have some ways to capture more conversions. And so the higher traffic sites we have that we're adding these conversion tools to, in some of this, realize there's going to be some spam that comes through these chatbots and some of the other conversion tools. But the sites that have more traffic, some of them are getting 3-4 extra leads a day. I mean, think about that, times 30, that's a significant amount of business opportunities. So it's a matter of kind of understanding this is not a straight referral, but using some of these conversion tools, the chatbot specifically. There's also different ways you can do it on entry, on exit. There's a lot of different ways to be a little more proactive, but be responsive at this time. Make it easy for people to communicate with you, and use multiple ways. We have people that use Facebook Messenger, Skype. We use Slack as in our business, but make it so you can communicate with clients the way they want to communicate. Obviously, you have your portal, you do secure messaging through there, but make it so that you make it easy for them to talk to you. Okay. And then even on the feedback form, we say here, add online feedback form to your newsletter. We added that for you. But that obviously gives you the ability, if a prospect wanted to ask a question or even a client, it's a way to identify planning opportunities. Again, we already build those into our blog articles, so it's kind of there for you. I know Steve had some more points he wanted to make here on this one as well.
Yeah, just thanks, Lee. Just real briefly, I know we do some of these for you, but one of the biggest things that I've seen is a lot of our successful clients that use us, they think as a consumer. They think of where they would want to be contacted by a professional and the accountant, and then they present, and they build out a system so they can communicate. So it's just, there's no right or wrong or specific ways to do it, but just like you were mentioning, as many possible places that they can do that it's always a great thing.
Yeah, perfect. So we're kind of wrapping this up. There is a question here as we end these slides. Do you have a solid answer to the question, why you? So the one thing that you should be backing, for all your messaging is knowing your why. And a couple things here, why do you do what you do? We've interviewed many of our VIP clients and posted those on YouTube, gotten some great feedback for that. But a lot of times they're explaining, hey, this is what my why is. And with that, when a consumer sees that, it helps them, why should people choose to work with you over someone else, right? So the higher you can get up the trust ladder, so through your marketing, through your newsletter, through your social media posts. So they're already through your reviews, all these elements are kind of building you. They're kind of making you higher and higher end. It's going to be easier to convert them as an end user, as a client. So one of the misconceptions, especially with web referrals, is, everyone expects I want a lead and I want a one-call close. I mean, does that happen? Sure. But the modern way, the way the funnels work, this person might have been looking at your brand for 3 or 4 months before they decided to call you. So as long as your digital marketing is communicating these trust, kind of these trust factors, I think it's going to make it much easier for you to convert them into clients. So what your why is, have it at the back of your mind every time you speak to referral and in a web referral as well. And then, let the conversions roll in. So I think these are very important elements of kind of moving forward on the trust side. So next steps that we can help. A couple things here. This is, again, speaking to people so many of you may already be covering all this stuff. And this workshop was more just there to reiterate some things. But those that are missing a database, those that do not have fresh reviews, and I'm talking fresh reviews, I want every quarter to have fresh reviews. The older they are, there's a bunch of data on it. It basically starts, it doesn't index you as well. And consumers are like, why is no one talking about them anymore? So update your listings, make sure, especially your Google My Business is becoming more and more important. Make sure we have access and that is claimed. Also engage with other professionals and influencers online, right? So we did today, or on Wednesday, or the first Wednesday of each month, we do our Tax Buzz chat on Twitter. It's a great way to have a social presence, have your audience see you showcasing your expertise, and start developing relationships and a reputation online. So there's lots of different social groups. There's lots of places that you can showcase your expertise. This is kind of building up those trust elements. So I think that's important. Prioritize following up on your leads. So this goes back to the responsive thing. Going back to encourage your clients to leave reviews. If you have not sent out a recent review campaign, please hit up your VIP team and say, hey, I'd like to get another review campaign out. Before tax season is a great time. They're, believe it or not, all they need to be is asked. And we have people that have 50, 100 reviews. So even more than that, hundreds of reviews across the different profiles. So it's definitely something you should work on. And then the last one is, this is something that we don't necessarily do, but start thinking about different case studies that you can, even if it's just a point that you can make into a little graph or a quick social post, do that, or do more sophisticated case studies like we have done on CountyWorks Pro. But these are definitely next steps that you can take to make things start working on the trust factor. So I think that wraps up. That's right about 30 minutes exactly. We do have some time for some Q&A. So Alexa, let me know what we have here.
Yeah. So the first question I have is, you mentioned some great ideas here that I am already doing now. What is another takeaway to build trust?
So I've mentioned these, but I'm just going to say here's two of them. Be responsive to inquiries. And that's whether it's a prospect or a client, right? So if you don't have the answer, at least respond that you're working on it. I think that's an element. It's so simple, but it amazes me how often, and this goes into don't have full voicemails, don't have email that's bouncing, that kind of stuff. So be responsive. And then the second one is under promise and over deliver. So, humans don't trust brands nearly as much as they used to, right? So, and one reason for that shift is that people feel they've been lied to by other vendors. So other experiences, they've had bad experiences, and they, unfortunately, I think the stats were, the trust factor now is down to 30% of, so people trust brands about 30%. They trust their friends at 70%. So the goal here is, how can we build up your trust factor through these other signals to be, obviously higher than the 30%. So it's in your best interest to under promise and over deliver when it comes to all forms of your client expectations. And this is a good takeaway to use in your own practice. So if it takes you a week to finish a tax plan, tell your client it takes 2 weeks, and then deliver it in 5 days, right? So surprise them when you deliver early. But those are two elements or two takeaways I think are helpful.
Yeah, that was super helpful. Another question I have is, you mentioned freshness of reviews. What does that mean?
So it's kind of the common sense thing, and I've talked about it a little bit on the quarterly thing, but reviews do help improve your local search rankings, okay? So that's 100%. We know that. We see that in the data, and fresh ones help more. So reviews should be recent, so meaning no older than 6 months. And basically, otherwise, consumers kind of consider them to be irrelevant. So the way that clients find and choose a professional advisor has changed drastically in recent years. So whether it is a straight referral, they're still Googling your name to see what other people are saying. In the past, consumers would rely mainly on your business advertising, or a previous experience or recommendation for family and friends. I think now more and more people are turning to local search, right? And Google is even starting to filter out local businesses that have less than 4-star rating. You'll start seeing a filter on the top left. So you better have a 5-star review profile. And you want, what's great about TaxBuzz and CountyWorks and working with your Google My Business profile, we get the reviews from TaxBuzz and CountyWorks actually show in the Google My Business listing. So if you can have all three of those looking perfect, you are well on your way. So, basically online reviews help people make more informed purchase decisions in the opinion of one or two friends. So I think that's kind of the basics for it. Freshness, the more they're coming in, hopefully not all on the same day, but the more they're coming in, the freshness score improves your ranking.
Great, and we have time for one more question, and then I can wrap this up. So the last question we have is, how does a newsletter help with client retention?
Got it. And I think this is part of the trust factors. So, and sometimes people we're talking about our own talking points and our staff is, I think sometimes people don't understand how important that client newsletter is for your business. We were able to push those articles out to the social sites. We're able to now automate the email delivery. But with every newsletter you send, you educate your audience about your practice, while building trust at the same time. So it does two purposes. You're not necessarily hard selling, you're educating, and you're making people feel valued, right? that builds trust. So these digital touch points give you and your reader a chance to catch up, right? So even though you haven't spoken to them on the phone, they're engaging with your brand, right? So through that experience, they're engaging with you. So the purpose of your newsletter really isn't to sell, but to inform. So, I always say too, there's some of you that add a lot of personality to your newsletter. They edit the intro messages, they add custom articles. I highly recommend. I know it takes a little bit of time, but think about it. We do 99.9% of the work for you. What's 20 minutes with a Grammarly checker to rewrite an intro to make it more personal? You can highlight local things. You can highlight niche issues. It's definitely something, and it's a great capability if you want to add your own articles. Very few products can do this. Have an written for you content and having the ability to customize it. So I definitely suggest and recommend people take advantage of that. And you can these are things you can talk about. Tell your audience about recent changes at the firm, highlight an exceptional employee or partner, mention upcoming events. These are all big elements in building more trust. So I highly recommend, if your newsletter is not rolling right now, from this workshop, definitely reach out and let's get that database going and get this thing set up. But I hope that is a helpful Q&A. I want to thank you for attending this workshop. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our VIP team at 800-442-2477 extension 4, or email us at vip@countingworkspro.com. I appreciate your business and look forward to the next workshop. Thank you.